It's a pleasure to and enjoy the rest of
No, that's the actual. I'm sure.
I wanted to get that.
You should have gone.
I should have.
That lasagna. Okay, so you guys are gonna trip out. His 7-year-old daughter made.
Really?
He just showed me a video.
Really?
Yes, I'm like,
That's amazing.
I'm like, this is my part of lasagna. He said like, he knows like, yeah, I'm like 7 years old, like whatever. And he showed me the That's what like the white one. I was like, where did you get this out of? Vegan. Vegan sushi bacon. It's like the vegan stuff are going vegan. It's so good. They know how to eat that because yeah, they took over me because I kind of had a challenge. I wasn't getting raw. I'm gonna be making mashed
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, yes, thank you. You didn't even know. I'm following her. But the thing after I have the baby, I'm gonna go back and but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not I probably like I'm so excited about it. But I can get like, I'm kind of but I'm gonna be clean. Like, I had like a 6-pack a year ago. What? He sent me my picture, and I was like, what happened? Right there. And I was showing me, and I have a 6-pack. Oh, yeah. But this time, because I can make the time, I need to think like I'm going to prioritize that. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what your work is.
I'll tell you, I'll text you like, hey, did you work out today?
It's going to go right. Okay, so the other one's better. It was really good. His 7-year-old daughter made it. That was the best thing I've ever had. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
This food is amazing. Like, they would invite us over. Like, first we went to the church, his parents were like, girl, you're coming to our house. I said, okay, when do I come? They're like, we're now. So I was like, okay. So I come over there, and I'm telling you, they are the closest. Every time I went to the house, the hospitality was amazing.
So was that what he does before?
Always, it was vegetarian, pure vegetarian. They didn't use no plates or something. They ate with like, it was just an experience. Yeah.
Does he, is
Yeah.
that what he does for a living? Does he just cater?
Yeah, he's a catering guy.
How's that beach pop? I've been wanting a vegan beach pop.
But you
I got there's a shop that does that
You
stuff.
gotta break really.
I can't, I will be in pain. I can't have any dairy or gluten. You'll be sick. Like,
Yeah, I
I'll be
know.
throwing up.
We've been vegan for like 3 or 4 months. It was the best experience, but it's really tough. Like with the girls working and going to school and me working. And at the time I was working for jobs, so it's like
There we go.
there's no time to and then you have to go to the store like every fall. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Pinterest is a
but it's
lifesaver
so
for
worth
us.
it. And you're at home, so that makes it like.
But even so, I mean, we're still busy with our schedules, but even Pinterest though has been like the biggest blessing. I'll make 2-day meals. So I make 2-day meals like that and spread it out and make it so much easier and very budget friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I got the list that's on Pinterest. I have a especially because college.
People ask me what you made on like Pinterest. Every
How do you do
First time I got down.
what I do is if I want something to take I will like take them and say I'm feeling chill. And I'm trying to look up and then based off of some of the posts that people have and how it looks and then it's like I just recently
I ate paper.
it's actually so it's just this lentil with crushed tomatoes, fresh basil,
got some fresh paper on it?
crushed garlic.
And I ate paper today.
Chop up
Raise your hand if ever it's raise your hand if ever it's nap.
pepper flakes to make
Got some bacon egg. Raise your hand if ever I ate one today.
I think a lot of the shift changed when I was like, some of his stuff is a little legalistic with it because some things I'm like, it did come from God. You know what I mean? And I'm like, but some of the things I know that you read are not, they're man-made, which I do understand that. But there is so many benefits of some of the stuff that he does not. You know what I mean? Like,
Guess what? I ate paper came back.
you know what I mean? Or certain things like that. And I'm like, so you kind of got to use your judgment with things. But I was thinking for the most part, I mean, well, before I got pregnant, for the most part, we weren't kind of still on the alkali, but there would be like little things that we would add in there. I just didn't want to be like super illegal. And we did mostly
Actually,
for
no.
plan here else to get all that full fat. She doesn't have it. Just barely. Sometimes it does. I think it depends on it really depends on like the air or maybe her being overly active. That's really that's she's been playing outside. It is.
She has friends who
Oh my God. We're not even like chatting on the phone. They have each other's numbers. We're friends with all of the parents. Our next door neighbor, our biggest client, she just texted me. She's like, I just got the hygiene. I'm like, girl, you are amazing. She just keep going through stuff and be like, I'm getting this. What do you think of this? I feel like this. I'm like, she said 800 and she runs up here, so that's like a plus. So I'm like, for her, because she gets the Lexx, so that's like every other one. That I'll look forward to that. But then she gets other stuff in between, like little things. I'm actually about to get her. She just did a 14-day serum, but I'm about to tell her to get the to keep that to keep her 14-night repair to keep it consistent. Because if you use the 14-night repair and then you use the renewal, you don't pretty much use the 14 for a while. You don't have to do it every 3 to 4 months.
Bloody. Blink, 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 blink.
That's why I think.
Oh, you mean this?
I feel like I
Hi, how are
haven't been eating sugar, so the only sugar I eat is from dates, raisins, and seeds.
Well, that's not real sugar. That's I'm talking about the fake, like sugars, coconut sugar, all that type of stuff. That usually breaks down all the caffeine. Do you,
I'm gonna pass
Ever since January, no.
My sister will pass it. They did it before.
It's coming up 45 days. I haven't been eating that much sugar because I've been having dates and raisins. These have been enough sugar for me. Even if I have something, I don't know. Maybe I'm eating too many oils.
oh, it could be what kind of I use that every day. I'm frying. Listen, I'm eating fried potatoes, but it's grapeseed. So even you frying in your grapeseed, there's no cholesterol in grapeseed. There's no fat in it, so you can eat as much as you want with that. That's why I don't know. You know what? It might be actually. It might be something that you're actually sensitive and you don't know it. That your body just doesn't like that to actually help. I mean, even people have healthy things that because he has a certain food that makes his throat like itchy, so that he can't. So you know what I mean? It's like certain things that you just.
It always breaks my heart when I'm like,
You can't do nothing.
That's your dad. I am not. I don't do that. No, it's my dad, but I don't want to put it down.
do you want to think
I want to put it down.
Yeah, put it right here.
switch it with Mac?
Yay! I got 2 free hands. Wait.
You know anything else?
Wait, let me look. My shoe. Wait.
Girl, we are losing shoes. Look at you, big girl.
You got your feet hands. And I don't know how because I've been outside more
Are
than
we
you.
gonna go night night?
Been here longer than me, and I got a tan faster. I know. I never get to.
Well, we got to put on your shoe.
He's untannable.
Put on your shoe.
He takes some tan pills. No. I made my sister so mad because I put my foot in her hair. Ew! I put my foot right in her hair. You know what she did? She broke my Yeah, she threw it out the window. We live on the 6th floor. Oh! I can't even sell it back and get the money.
She's been staring at you the whole time.
I can't even sell it at pawn shop. But I am gonna admit, that was fun. Come here, look, Money ain't scared of him. And Money just met him. She's a devil bitch.
Hey,
She just met that guy and she's like, mwah.
Hey, stop it.
hey. Guess who made a lasagna? His 7-year-old daughter.
7?
He showed us the video from Mexico.
7? Is that like what she do? She cooks?
She helped. Well, he's chef, so he's taught her. He said he has the connections with the producer of Master Chef Junior. They was just about to give her like everything she should do.
Man, that's bomb.
It's very simple. He showed me the whole entire thing.
Yeah?
This
Phone over there?
was right here.
Yeah, actually dropped behind the thing at first. He's
If you put your foot, put your head,
we just gotta go through. And then I think she's gonna get tired.
sit down. Hey, you did that. You have two on, but you
I
can't.
told him I was sorry.
Because we didn't try the lasagna.
Look, she's ready. Yeah, I don't know. Walk that looks
She's
like
7-year-old daughter. So I made her.
Yeah, you see pictures of
Like, I had
her.
a big
She's
point
been
in
with
her.
him. They are so awesome. So it's
Oh yeah,
nice.
she's
not doing that, bro.
I was like, oh, so he's not.
They were one of the lingerie family, like, because my brother went there. Yeah.
I love this place.
That's good. You kind of got to be around this
Well,
environment.
yes, because I come
Look,
from
it
all
says
black.
reserved
So
seat.
the
Holding
only
it
one
reserved
that-
seat.
And I'm standing there. They're there. Praising Jesus. Kama and Val. sitting there, like, and I'm pouring tears.
Yeah.
And the pastor of the church, he turned around and we make contact and he sees each other. And I was like,
Stop with that.
It's like
we
because
visited one time after that, like everybody there. We go out to their house and have fun. Like it was a real family. And praying
No, you do.
they will get it. They will get it one day. I pray they get it.
Five.
that connection.
Check them.
It's gonna
Put a
Yeah,
pen in my
exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm
One.
grateful.
Point one.
I'm trying to get up there and
Point
help
three.
everybody.
Point four. Point five. Point six.
you,
Point seven. Point eight. You better find it. Point nine. Point 10. Point 11. Point 12. Point 13. Point 14. Point 15. Point 16. Point 17. Point 18. Point 19. Point 20. 2. Point 1.
What is it on live? I mean, how can I find it live? If I have
Go
it.
to Libya.
Oh,
To my,
okay.
do I have you? I have you as a friend, right?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna live stream it.
Oh, okay.
When we go.
Okay.
You a bra. We're gonna be bras. Alright, we're gonna be
But it's, that's like, that's
my
when she
God,
don't
I can
like,
think about everything.
you know what I mean? She's moving so much.
I,
You know what we should do is get her really tired right
so
now.
you don't play, you don't complain about how many games you play tag. Definitely don't complain about it.
Say, because I know her scared. She does never do that though. So this, that's a great thing.
Why does it?
Oh, she was trying to give you a kiss.
I needed that love. You're so sweet.
I'm very disappointed.
Or she'll give you a hug.
Anybody have a rope?
I didn't even know.
What is her name?
London.
She's just gonna do it, guys. She ain't gonna toss it.
Is her jacket in the bag? I'm gonna have stuff ready just in case. You want daddy? Come sit. Come lay down on couch.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
Come here, Papa.
Right back. Where you, Mom?
That's the kid.
Right back.
He's coming right back.
Hey, Lonnie, you want to sit with me? Come sit with brother.
You want banana?
We starting back right now.
Here, come get in that seat and I'll get you banana.
We got to-go plates. So if y'all enjoyed y'all food, we got to-go plates. Also, if you like the food so much, go ahead and go buy another plate. Endorse it. You know, show love, show support. We put together an event. Look around, guys. It's all cool. And look how many of us is here. The city is supposed to be on lockdown, they tell me. There's only a few amount of people supposed to be in certain areas, but look what we got. This is powerful. The unity is powerful. And I thank everyone for coming out. So again, reminder, we got to-go plates. So if anybody wants a to-go plate, make sure you go and get it now. Or if you want, go buy another plate, man. Show some love. We will be starting in about 3 minutes sharp. 3 minutes.
That means you guys start your food down in 3 minutes.
Come on, man. It's like that. I don't know what hotel you're sleeping at tonight. Since you want to talk like that.
Can I able to like sit on a microphone?
What do you want to say?
I don't know that everything kind of comes up on screen.
You got it. Put it right here. You need to hang out with him. You want to keep it company for a second? You want to go with him?
Where do I go?
You in my seat. You in my seat. Can I sit with you?
Yeah, stay right there.
Come on. Oh, yes. Yes, come on. Let's sit down. All right. All right. Yeah, so I can cut this off. And then I'll get cut on because it's not like okay. Because it's going to get off my
You want more bananas? Get on your lap.
Where you going? I'll go outside. That's your style.
You don't even know what you're doing.
That's cool.
This guy is very, he's like brand new. Couple months
Check, check, check. We're going to give opportunity for everybody in the back to get their plate. Okay. How many of y'all like the lecture so far? Woo! This is what we call easy work, family. This is nothing. We're not even busting a sweat here. And that's not coming from a place of ego, nor is it coming from a place of arrogance. When you live in this truth, you should not bust a sweat speaking it. Key word, when you live in it. Because this is easy work. Everyone should be able to possess the skill set to go into any historical document and say, that's us. Then, and this is us now. We can battle with the best of them. What language they gonna speak that we can't teach them?
Right.
What book they gonna go to that we haven't read already? The best of their best can't touch some of our school children. Believe that. That's real talk. This is what we call a scenery from a literature in ancient Kemet known as the tale. Look of it, it looks like what we call hieratic, which is the priestly script in ancient Kemet or Egypt. Hieratic is adversely different from the Medu Neter in that the Medu Neter can be read in several different ways. Hieroglyphs can be read in several different ways. Jaden, can you assist us for one moment, Jaden?
Yes. Here, I'll come
Give him a
down.
hand, family. Come on, jump. So I'll be right there. Hold on, I got you. Let me ask you a question. When we read in hieroglyphs, how old are you, by the way?
I'm 11.
I want you to look at the camera. Let the camera go. How old are you?
I'm 11 years old.
You 11 years old?
Yes.
How many languages are you able to read?
That is hieroglyphs.
Are you able to do what with that?
I can do hieroglyphs.
You can do hieroglyphs?
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
let me see what you got, all right? Now, when we read in hieroglyphs, you know, I'm new to this. So you got to let me know what direction would I start reading the hieroglyphs and why. So if I'm looking at this hieroglyph here, should I start reading here? Should I start reading in the middle? Where should I start reading? What determines the direction that we read hieroglyphs?
That side.
Why? Because everything is facing what?
It's facing left.
That's right. We read hieroglyphs based on the direction that everything is facing. So if you look, you can see that the foot is facing left.
Yeah.
The hand is facing left. So where do we start our reading? And how old are you, brother?
11.
I would like you to offer classes to Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Tell him that he can take your classes too. Get in his class too. All right.
Good job, Jay.
Let me tell y'all, my class, so no joke, as y'all can see, he ain't even ready to leave. He hanging out for a split second, right? All right, so watch this. So again, this is called a scenery from a papyrus known as the Tale of Sinhui. And the script that you're looking at, some of us may have thought it was Medu Neter, but it's not. So Medu Neter or hieroglyphs represent a system of writing in ancient Kemet that you would say the priest knew, the king knew, which is the Nisut, any gifted scribe would know, but the general populace could not read hieroglyphs for, I want to say, the first two golden ages, which would be the Old Kingdom and the Middle Kingdom. Towards the New Kingdom period, you do start to see the regular laymen actually involved in not just the reading, but in the scribing of the language. But this is called hieratic, which is called the priestly script. And I want to tell you something real briefly about hieratic script. It is uniquely set apart from the Medu Neter or hieroglyphs in that we can read hieroglyphs in any direction that the scenery or the glyphs are facing. So hieroglyphs can be read from the far left, far right, or they can be read in vertical columns. Hieratic, however, can only be read from right to left, just like Hebrew. Mind you, it's their priestly script. Their priestly script reads like Hebrew. I just want you to think about that for a moment. I want to tell you something really quick about a particular man. So it's an individual of noble status in ancient Kemet. When the Nisut or the king dies, he flees the town. He flees Dodge, as they say. He gets the hell out of Dodge. Why? Because it was very common in ancient day that when kings exchanged power, the seat of throne, everybody that worked for them could be killed. Especially if there was an issue as the new king is coming in that don't like the previous king. So in this instance, this individual gets the hell out of Dodge because the new king is ordering that everybody that worked for the last guy got to go. And when I say got to go, I don't mean he getting a transfer. He got to go. So he goes to Canaan. Something interesting happens. What does the Torah teach us, or the Bible teach us, about Moses and Joseph in Egypt? They were able to blend, mesh, and look like them because what? They were also a people of color. So Joseph in Egypt gets mistaken for an Egyptian by his own brothers. Right or wrong? All right. This story is a unique twist because this story is going to show you something in reverse order. When this guy finally leaves Canaan and he comes back to Egypt, the Egyptians swear that he's a Hebrew.
Wow.
That could only be possible if even the Egyptians know the Hebrews look like them. Woo! Watch this. Then the king's children were brought in, and his majesty said to the king's wife, "Here is Senenet, returned as an Asiatic, remade as a Syrian." She uttered a very great cry, and the king's children in one outburst. They said before his majesty, "It cannot truly be him, sovereign my lord." And his majesty said, "It truly is he." When he came into, I'm about to give you the full story right now. When he came into ancient Kemet, they could not recognize him. They literally thought he was an Asiatic. The point in the story is that that would only be possible if the Egyptians knew the Asiatics looked like them. So that means all them Kemetic teachers, shout out to a lot of you, but you might have to recheck your record when you start talking about the color of the Hebrews. Because it's documented in ancient Kemet that even an Egyptian could be mistaken as a Hebrew.
Wow.
Watch this. We're going to go to the full story right now. All praises to the Most High. Give me a second to find it. Here we go. In the ancient Egyptian text, you know when you speak to Team Kemet, they say, "We want the primaries." You guys got the primaries? We got the primaries. In the ancient Egyptian text entitled The Tale of Sinhui, a native Egyptian official by the name of Sinhui, upon the death of Amenemhet I, he flees to the land of Canaan, which the text described as the land of the Amu. The Egyptians referred to Canaan as the land of the Amu. Amu is the word for Asiatics. That's going to be key in a moment, that name Amu. Don't forget that term Amu. It's how you say Asiatic in the Egyptian language and tongue. And in this tale, they describe the land of Israel as the land of the Amu. Keep that name in mind. It's going to be thick in a moment. Because sometimes in ancient Egypt, a change of kings can bring about the death of those who served the previous king, so as to remove all elements of allegiance or treason. Sinhui flees to the land of the Syrians in Canaan, seeking political asylum. And not only is he well received, he's even given the eldest daughter of a high official as a wife in the land of Canaan. He's told by a Syrian chieftain that he will enjoy it here because there are people here from Egypt who speak his language. After being there for so many years, he's challenged by an Asiatic native to battle, and he wins. Shortly thereafter, he receives mail from Senuseret, the Nisut of Egypt, from whom he originally fled, asking him to return and promising his safety and pledging to him the offer of renewed status in Egypt. Upon returning, the king's wife and children said, "This cannot be the same Sinhui. He looks like an Asiatic." How the hell is that possible if Asiatics look like Charleston Heston? How the hell is that possible if Asiatics look like Rabbi Arnold Cooper that spoke with Nick Cannon? She said there's no way that this could be St. Huey because he looks Asiatic.
Wow.
Talk to me, family.
Wow.
All praises to the Most High. The king disagreed and says, surely it is him, and accepts him again to serve in the royal court. Now, I wrote, in case you missed it, there are some very powerful truths revealed in the story which you need to know. The story takes place during the early Middle Kingdom of Kemet. The Kemetic conscious community always harps on the fact that the Asiatics came into ancient Egypt during famine seeking economic asylum. Listen to me carefully. You'll hear a lot of Kemetic teachers saying, y'all disrespectful with y'all Bible. Because, my bro, shout out to you, bro. Teach you how to box one day. For those who know the backdrop. All right, moving on without being crazy with it. So watch this. We go into Egypt to eat, which is true. The Bible records that we seek political asylum in Egypt at times. Watch this. This one short, based on the text above. The only way St. Huey, skin tone alone, will rule out him being a native Egyptian, not just his clothes. Talk to me. Because they share the same color, the only difference being cultural attire. Lastly, yes, Hebrews sought economic asylum in ancient. What I told you about that name that I want y'all to remember? Morakawa, would you please do the honors for us, please? Now I have a question for you. I'm going to give you the mic, all right? I have a question for you. So the first thing I want to ask you is, when we're reading the Meta Netra, where do we start? So, I'm new, so I'm going to ask you to start right here. You can start reading the hieroglyphs here.
No.
No? Where should we start reading?
Wherever the glyphs are facing. So we're all facing to the right, so we start from the right.
So everything is facing there. So I'm going to start here. By the way, what glyph is that?
That's the horn viper.
That's the horn viper. Watch us get into grammar. What consonant is that equivalent to in English?
F or V.
F or V. How does that behave grammatically?
It's a suffix or pronoun for he, him, his, or its.
Huh.
Say it again?
It's a pronoun or a suffix for he, him, his, or its.
I think a lot of people could take these classes. I hope this is going to be published very soon. A lot of people could benefit from these classes.
That's right.
Especially in the conscious community. Thank you very much. So watch this. This glyph right here, I'm about to show you guys the full scenery. This right here is a remake. So I live in New York, and this painting is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. But it's a remake, but the remake is consistent with the original. Watch this. Oh man, talking about watch this and I forgot to add it. But I got it. Wait, no, I do got it because I could just go back.
That's it.
This is the original. Everybody see?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the original. All right. So watch this. To the far top right, we have legs showing motion or movement. Atop it is a bowl called the new bowl. That is a trilateral glyph in the Meta Netra. It's called Ini. Ini. And it means to bring. To bring. The water ripple above it or behind it, two of them, each of them is equivalent to the English letter N. So altogether it says Inin. Then with the horn viper morakawa, as a suffix at the end of a word, it becomes the masculine pronoun, he, him, his, or its, right? So it means he brought. The glyph all the way on the top here is an A. The outstretched arm here is also an A. Both of them are Ah. This glyph above, that Ah alone, usually on its own, means great in ancient Kemet. As in the word for Pharaoh, per Ah, the great house, which the Hebrew is called Pero, and it comes into Greek as Pharaoh. But in ancient Egypt, during the Middle Kingdom period, this is the first time that the kings in Egypt are described as per Ah. Prior to them, they're only called Nisut, which is the Aboriginal Kemetic term for king. Now watch this. The owl gives us an M, and the throw stick is a determinative. By determinative, I mean, if I write 3.27 on a paper, how do you know if I'm doing a math problem or I'm talking about money? So we usually attach a dollar sign, right?
Yeah.
So the dollar sign, even in English, is what we call a determinative because it classifies what we're looking at. So the throw stick is teaching us that we're talking about a foreign people because the throw stick was the weapon of choice by Asiatics and Ethiopians, which gets interesting. Think about this. In every Kemetic lecture, they tell you Nubia is the mother of Egypt, and all of Kemetic tradition is born in Nubia. They don't tell you that the Egyptians considered the Nubians foreigners. They don't tell you that the word, one of the words for Cush, or Kash in Kemet, which is also the Hebrew Cush, is Nehisu, which means vile and wretched. That's how the people of Kemet looked at some of the Nubians. They called them Nehisu, which means the vile or wretched ones. We talking truth today. This is not romanticism. This is truth. Watch this. Because the throw stick is the weapon of Ethiopians and Asiatics, it's used as a determinative for foreigner in ancient Egypt. Then we see a man kneeling. Does that man look like he's praying?
No.
Come on, we all know Asiatics was never slaves in Egypt. Does that man look like he's there filming?
No.
What did he look like, family?
Slave.
He looked like a slave or what we call a captive, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're going to tell you he's just a prisoner of war. That's a whole slave.
Wow.
The word is Amu. NNF Amu. He brought Amu. Who's the he? This guy. He brought these guys into Egypt. He brought Asiatics. The term for Asiatic in the Egyptian language is Amu. And he brought them into Egypt, and look how they're coming into Egypt. As captives.
Wow.
But I thought that doesn't exist. So we got a new generation of Hebrews today. We could read them damn glyphs. Y'all in trouble. The horseshoe is 10, and there's 3 of them, so that's 30. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is going to get interesting in a moment because watch this. That means 37 Amu captives are brought into Egypt as either captives or slaves. 37 is not a large number, by the way, but it's highly significant in light of this. When Joseph comes to Egypt, family, does Joseph come in the hundreds and thousands? Or does the Torah record, the Bible record, that a band of Ishmaelites sell him, so there's probably him and a couple other dudes with him?
Yeah.
It's not 1,000 people with him. He comes few in number. Possibly even 37.
Wow.
His brothers, on the other hand, when they finally make their way to Egypt, they come in and bearing goods. Anybody notice this coat has many colors?
Oh, wow.
Anybody notice what looks like fringes on this garment? Hello?
Wow.
Wouldn't this be a pictorial representation of the Bible's teaching? Joseph came in as a captive or slave, and his brothers came in bearing goods? History calls these people the Hyksos. Because the shepherd's crook is HQ, a biliteral glyph. The hill is Q, and this is Kasut. Kasut is a determinative for foreigner. So this is Hek Kasut. Hek Kasut, or it comes into Greek as the Hyksos. But this particular leader, by the way, Hek Kasut means foreign ruler, because the term Hek means ruler. And then this is the determinative for foreigner. So these people are foreign rulers. That means when y'all came into Egypt, they recognized y'all as royalty. Talk to them.
Let me get some clarity, brother.
Yes.
Are you saying that
Damn right I'm saying
the
that.
man that's bowing down right now, that's put his knees on, are you saying that these are Nubians or
Oh,
Hebrews?
so what I'm saying
Are you
is,
saying the Hebrews came into Egypt?
so what I'm saying is this.
Joseph.
In the scenery that we just read, watch this. That's an excellent question by Brother Sonetta. In the scenery that we just read, this term that you're reading here as Asiatic, the term in the Medo-Netra is Amu. This is just the English translation. The way to say Asiatic in the Medo-Netra is Amu. This is being described in this setting as the land of Israel, the land of Canaan. So it's describing the people of the land of Israel, the land of Canaan.
Wow.
Of which, that's them, the Amu. So Kemetic literature refers to people in the land of Canaan, which is today the land of Israel, as Amu. And y'all got a scenery on y'all walls depicted in the tomb of Khnum-Hotep II, depicting them same Amu coming into Kemet with their arms bound.
All right, I just want to tell you, man, just be ready, because when I upload this,
I'm glad you say they, because y'all gonna need a whole army. Because it's going to take 10 polites to equal one of us. Come on. Believe that. So, the name of this particular ruler is very reminiscent of names that you can find in the land of Canaan. Watch this. Come on, Hebrew class. The single reed leaf is
Single reed leaf.
the single reed leaf. What consonantal value is that? I, E,
Is
I.
that
I.
I-O-Y.
The foot,
U, is it U or A?
close. Kawa, B. So this is an I, E, or A. So we have Ab. The marshes with the plants growing from it, that gives us SH. So Abish. And then this is I. How many of y'all have opened the Bible and read the name Abishai?
Wow.
That's it right there. Further letting you know, we got to be talking about some Hebrews.
Wow.
but now Zion, you know I got to ask you, could it be that the Bible get it from there?
That's a great question.
Because knowing that Kemet was there first before there was a Bible written,
Okay.
in the English I'm talking about. So is it possible that they could have copied it from the walls of Kemet and put it in the Bible?
Absolutely. Except I want you to really think about what you just said in light of what we're about to show.
Yeah.
So Sonetta presented a very great question because it is a fact that we can't get around. There's a historical record in ancient Kemet scribed or etched into their walls in papyri long before the authors of the Bible begin to take up their pen. So watch this. What we're looking at, Brother Sonetta, is a scenery in Kemet. This ain't got nothing to do with the biblical record. This y'all story. That today, we got a whole new group of Hebrews that can come into your record and we can have some fun. Because when we check the record and we check it clear, this is saying he brought, and by he we're talking about an Egyptian official, which we just saw, 37 Amu, which we just read in the tale of Sinahil. Name, by the way, is not a Canaanite name. Canaanites don't call themselves Abishai. That's a Hebrew name. Most, which is why, if you notice, this leads into something deeper. The ceremonial garb of the Nisut, the king, is a false beard. Which you got to ask yourself a question. Because some of y'all know I like to talk about Sumer a lot, the region that Abraham comes from. Why else do you think Egyptians are wearing false beards? Because their very first... Good question. You said he was one of those Egyptians that could grow hair. What kind of beard he rocking? I gotta stop misteaching the community and stop misinforming the community. Y'all going around talking about Asiatics are white people. Y'all going around talking about Asiatics are non-colored people.
Wow.
Your own record shows you that Asiatics look just like you. So stop playing games. And lastly, to Brother Wesley Muhammad, you know, the last time I checked, students, they honored their teachers. How many people came here with Elder Malak? How many people have great respect and even high honor for the elder?
That's right.
Notice I got my hand raised too. Because that's still my elder. Slightly different school of thought, but that's my elder. Because the last time I checked, the Torah says, honor the Zaken, the elder. Period. Don't say honor the one that's part of your camp. Don't say honor the one that shares every single opinion with Torah with you. We got to honor the pinnacles in our community, whether they agree with our walk or not, because that shows that you know Torah. So Wesley Muhammad, you said, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Asiatics look like this, even though the historical record reflects that they look like this, and that they look like this, and that they look like this. So what are you talking about? And the last thing I want to say to him is, the last time I checked, as evidence in this room posits, students tend to honor the words and teachings of their teachers. So how are you contradicting the great minister? Last time I checked, Wesley Muhammad is part of the NOI, the Nation of Islam. Is that not a fact? Somebody tell me, who has eyes, what does Farrakhan have on the cover of the Final Call?
Black.
Say that again?
Black true children of Israel.
Maybe we read that wrong, because Wesley said something different. Hold on.
So did Wesley say it is true Islam, or did he say it is Wesley Muhammad?
Hold that thought one moment. Wait, you know what? Don't hold that thought, because you know I'm live with it. What'd you say?
Wesley Muhammad, he said that when he's part of the Nation of Islam? Because he might have said it before he was the Nation of Islam.
No, because I took it from his Facebook the other day, and he still haven't responded to me. Some of y'all that follow me on Facebook, y'all know that the post is 2 days old. Hold on, let me see if I got the date. Y'all think I'm playing. I be having receipts. Hold on. I got the post date. You're not playing over here. Does it show the date? It says Wesley Muhammad 4 hours ago. For those who want to see the date, go to Wesley Muhammad's page. This was posted, I left on Sunday. This was posted maybe Saturday evening. And I'll go back and I'll copy it and take a screenshot so you guys can see that Wesley Muhammad just said this, brother. So I got to ask a question. How does a student contradict the words of his master teacher? Especially when the words of your master teacher reflect the historical record. Because historically, even speaking to Rabbi Arnold Cooper, Abraham Cooper, the historical record reflects that people of Semitic descent are a people of color. The historical record reflects that the Amu, the children of Israel, are a people of color. Minister Louis Farrakhan, Wesley Muhammad, your teacher, says blacks are the children of Israel. I could read a little bit, so I know Hebrew well, I know hieroglyphs well. I'm not too good with English, so somebody help me. This does say blacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Wesley Muhammad shares that with me. He might not be too good in English, because I'm not sure how he didn't see this. Lastly, I want to just give some respect to a pioneer in our culture. Please, family, can we get a round of applause? Let me say this. Many of us saw things on social media like his close circle kept his most darkest hour a secret. For 4 years, none of us knew that this man was battling cancer.
Right.
That should be a lesson to us all.
Yep.
You know who's a person you can value? That person that keep your secrets, man. That person that respect and love you so much that when I share something with you, it's just for you. How many different communities could have said that this news would have went unspoken? So those of you who exist in circles like this, put respect on your circles. Because clearly this man gave great symbol. And with that being said, the first book I ever wrote is It Was Written and Engraved, a series of essays on Torah from the blueprint of creation to the transatlantic slave trade. The second book I wrote is Ancient Kemet on Trial. I was at the event that Brother Sonita put together, Kemet on Trial.
Yeah.
I didn't get to speak.
Y'all got beat up bad too.
That's some of what I'm hearing.
Uh-huh.
That's some of what I'm hearing. So I never got to speak. So what I did was I said I'm going to publish my words in book form. They still can't answer my book. They're going to say everything about my book but address the content of the book. I also put out a book called The Star of David Controversy, because as we know, the Star of David is a symbol that garners a lot of controversy in the community. So I tackle the issue head on. I look at the historical records so as to see what's the earliest reference to it. I match it up with any bit of evidence that I could find. And all I can tell you is, it's a powerful read. And if you ever read a book that I wrote, you know that I really go in. Really go in. This book right here is different. This is my bestseller. It's called Matriarchs of the Covenant. Guys, this November, God willing, I'm going to be 41 years old. I came into this way of life at age 14. Throughout my experiences in the Hebrew community, I noticed that women weren't given the respect that I see in the book. Don't you know before Deborah was called a wife in the scriptures first introduced her as a judge and a prophetess? You know what that should mean to many of us as brothers and especially our sisters? You're not great just because you're the husband of so-and-so. The Creator gave us 3 things: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And guess what? We all got that. If you think your greatness is exclusively measured by who your husband is, check the record again. Because our tradition certainly honors the idea of communal and marriage. But take notice, before the scriptures calls her the wife of so-and-so, it says she's a prophetess and a judge. And in case you don't know what that means, let me break it down. So I also went to John Jay College, a law school. In order to become a judge, you have to master law. Talk to me. In order to become a judge, you have to master law. Question: how does she become a judge and she don't know the whole Torah? So women don't know the book? Clearly they do. Deborah knew it. She was a judge. The people came to her for judgment. That means she knew every single edict that was issued on Mount Sinai. And she knew it without opening a book like we do. And she could recite it without looking at a book like we do. Put respect on the women. Better believe it. Because watch this. I could just end by saying this. How many of us, when we recall the Exodus, we say, Moses brought us out, God helped him. Moses and Aaron brought us out. How many of y'all remember Miriam? Because the book of Micah chapter 5 says, I chose Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to lead you out. If God don't forget her, why do you?
Come on. Miriam, come on.
Last book I wrote is called The DNA of Sound, exploring the esoteric character of the Hebrew language. The Hebrew class can tell you that's a bad motorcycle. We go into all 22 characters of the Hebrew alphabet. Let me give you a little taste of what we do. Somebody give me a working definition of the word for righteousness in Hebrew. What is the word for righteousness in Hebrew? I believe in Lashon Kodash is Tazadak.
Zadik.
We say Zadik, but in Lashon Kodash is Tazadak, correct? Watch this. Somebody tell me, what is the biblical definition of righteousness? Anybody? I want to give you the mic. I want everybody to hear you.
It's Deuteronomy 6 and 24 is the keeping of the law, statutes, and commandments is our righteousness.
Give him a round of applause. So righteousness, as defined by our culture, the Torah, the Bible, is the keeping of the commandments of the Creator, period. That's righteousness. But watch this. If we understood that every single letter of the Hebrew character contributes to the overall meaning of Hebrew words, you could take that word much deeper and see something more profound. So the Hebrew word for righteousness, watch this. We're going to scroll all the way back. Wesley Muhammad, you got to look at this part too. You don't know Hebrew. The word for righteousness would have been zadeh or tazah, according to Lashawan Kodash. It would have been da or dalet, and it would have been kof or kuf. Zadeh, dalet, kof. Zedek. Zadeh and dalet is the Hebrew word for hunter. These two letters means to hunt and pursue. Every Hebrew knows what this is, Quadash or Kadosh. It's the word for holiness. The word for righteousness translates in Hebrew as he or she who is in pursuit of holiness. Far more powerful. Then watch what holiness is. So the word for holy is Kadosh. Kaf, Dalet, Shin. Excuse me. Kuf, Dalet, Shin. Ka, Dosh. Well, we know that Kof is the initial of Kadosh, and it gives the sense of holiness, but watch this. Hebrew class, the word Kof, don't you embarrass me in front of white folks. I say that to them in class. What is Kof in Hebrew?
Monkey.
Say it again.
Monkey.
A monkey or an ape.
Monkey.
Why does Adam, according to the biblical tradition, he names the animals. Why does Adam call the monkey or the ape Kof? What does Kof mean in Hebrew?
He tries to emulate man.
Into circle.
Kof means to emulate or encircle. How many people familiar with them 80s kung fu flicks that used to come on Saturdays? Y'all not supposed to know now if it come on Saturdays. Y'all ain't supposed to be watching it, right? That's why I said 80s, right? Every Saturday morning, and I'm pretty sure this was good for the West Coast too, they used to play old school karate flicks. Before the karate masters fight, Sarnetta, he's another fan, you see them do things like this. What they doing? Sizing each other up. So to encircle something means to study or observe it. The word kof literally means to encircle or to emulate. So the first part of the Hebrew word kadosh that gives us holiness, it means to emulate. The word dalet and shin is dash or dosh. Dash is a cadence. How many of y'all were ever impressed? I'm going to first say me. When you go on YouTube and you see how the Chinese military march.
Yeah.
400,000 right feet raising at the same damn time. At the same damn time. At the same time. Right? The point is, the thing that's most impressive about that is that, by the way, that kind of language is called, a military march is a cadence. So we're talking about a cadence now, right? A cadence is to move perfectly in concert. The term dosh in Hebrew literally means to tread, T-R-E-A-D, or to walk in perfect cadence. So watch this. The Hebrew word ka-dosh, the kuf means to emulate. We're told in the book of Leviticus chapter 19, ye shall be holy, for I the Lord thy God am holy. That's said several times throughout that chapter, right or wrong. You shall be holy, for I the Lord thy God am holy. So the ultimate ideal is that it's teaching us that if you want to attain holiness, the ultimate set apart, you have to emulate the Creator. You shall be holy, for I am holy. So how do I get close to you? By emulating you, by doing what you do. So watch this. The word for holiness tells us that. Because before I tell you what it says, let me tell you why a word or phrase that we translate it as, and I'm going to end it here, is not that great. most of us, with all due respect, we define holiness as set apart. But when you start reading that Bible in Hebrew, it might change your mind. Because Moreh Moshe, when we're reading about the temple harlot in the book of Leviticus, what is she called in Hebrew?
Set apart.
Huh?
Set apart.
What's the Hebrew word?
Kadesh. Kadesh.
Kadesha. The temple harlot is called a Kadesha because she's set apart too. But she's set apart to do that which is completely opposite for what the Creator calls for. So walking around saying we set apart ain't sufficient because the temple harlot is set apart too. So you need to know a little bit more Hebrew so that you can know what the word really means. Because kof means to emulate, and dosh means to walk in a perfect cadence. So holiness teaches us that the way that we bind our essence, think about it, the Creator is spiritual, immaterial. We are physical. How do we draw near to Him? Can't walk to Him. He's immaterial. We are physical. So how do you get close to Him? The ideas of closeness in a spiritual sense means that you share the same character trait as someone. So in the spiritual universe, you could never bring good and evil together. They're polarities apart. They don't exist. They could never coexist. It's only in the physical world that you can bring opposites together by virtue of their attachment to something physical. But in the spiritual universe, you can only draw close when there's emulation. Deep teachings, think about it and listen carefully. The only way you can get close to the Creator is becoming like Him, acting like Him, walking in perfect cadence with Him. Hallelujah. All right, family. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Everybody coming out, I want to first and foremost give all honor, all respect to the Creator, the Holy One of Israel. It's what brought us out today. Brother Zion Lexx didn't bring you out. You know what brought you out? The idea that we have to have some kind of wisdom about ourselves. If we could listen to a brother who we all know, let's keep it 100, comes from a community that calls himself. But it's only the power of Torah that you even allowed me to grace this stage. It's only, and I don't know it all. But here's one thing I know. If we could be another, guarantee you we get closer to figuring out who's right. Closer to Him, which brings us all right. So I've never been the type to close off the door. That's my favorite elder. He seen me, he said, "That's Zion?" I said, "Oh, he knew me?" Because I was starstruck. Then I said, "But hold on." His wife started. Now, I don't want to sound New York ratchet, but you know they say a family that prays together. But listen, damn it, a family that slay together, because that's what they was doing on that stage. They slayed. Come on. With that being said, I want to open up the forum to anyone here that would like to have a closing thought on anything. Anybody. It could be a number of people. It could be one person. Anybody. Would anybody like to give a final thought on what was said today?
I got one.
You got one?
Yes, I do.
From the mouth of babes. Come on.
Come down there. Alright. Thank you everyone for just being here, being for God and everything else. Yeah, just have a great day. Thank you.
And few words spoken with wisdom is much greater than much words spoken in folly. Hallelujah. Anybody else? Yes.
It's not so much. I just wanted to say that this was very enlightening for me and very a lot of information. Because, you know, I've always, since I've been in the truth, before I was in the truth, you've always heard this, you know, the Kemet's going at it, and they were this, and they were this. It's clear as water what you have brought out. And yes, we were in Egypt, and yes, we built the pyramids, and yes, you know, it was us. It was us, it was us, it was us, it was us. So I just wanted to thank you that, you know, just clarify things, how powerful Israelites, how powerful the Most High is, and your knowledge and your research is well respected. I just want to state the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? How about we shout out some of the different congregations or camps? What camp do we have in here today? Say it again.
California Hebrew.
Who else?
One nation set apart.
Say it again.
One nation set apart.
Set apart to do what? Keep them commandments. All right. Anybody else?
To emulate.
To emulate. Who in here Team Kemet? Oh, come on, put your hand up. Go ahead, Sarnetta. Come on, say something, Sarnetta. Sarnetta came all the way from New York City. There you go.
All right, I want to say shalom to my brothers and sisters out here. Shalom. I know a lot of y'all mistake me sometime and think that I'm against the Hebrews, which I know that is not the fact. I love my brothers. I love my sisters. What I do is I try to bring them together. See, if y'all say that the Most High is so powerful and the Most High can do anything in His will, then you can't be against me. You got to understand that the Most High is working through me to get to you. Check. So understand, it is because of what I do in Harlem that made the whole community have, voices of opinion. Yo, am I Hebrew? Am I Kemet? A lot of them became Hebrew. How many of you know Katazah from Harlem? Katazah and Captain Tezoria. He said straight up, he said, because of Sarnetta TV, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. And it's not only him, it's a lot of the brothers. Some brothers chose to go to the Kemetic side. But the most important thing is, you need to understand that when y'all see us going at it like that with the knowledge, we don't hate each other. We just bang hard on the information. Zion will tell you. Him and Jabari went hard. But after that, they brothers. They family. He can go to Jabari's house, sit down and talk with him. So it ain't like that when y'all see it on the screen, man. You know, we just bang hard for the information. Why? Because all our egos want to be right. You see what I'm saying? We want to be the best. So that's what it is. I have no hatred for y'all. This is why I bring you on my platform. This is why I bring the Muslims on. It don't matter what your religious denomination is. I bring everybody on because the world needs to hear all of us. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not an atheist. I know y'all may think, I'm not no atheist. I just choose not to call them by the names y'all call them. Why? Because I know that the powerful, the most high, he don't have no name to him. This is how I feel, according to me. So I don't really know what to call him. You know, if I call him the Most High, I'm like, damn, I don't want to put no blasphemy on him, because really nobody was around to hear him say, call me this, I'm that. So I just say, no, this is, I believe in the powerful force that exists out there. I still don't know what to call him. Maybe I'll learn as I get older, you know what I'm saying? But this brother right here, I have said to the Kemetic community, they have scorched me, some of them, but I don't care. To me, he is one of my top 8 teachers, and that's a lot. I'm not talking about the elders like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark. I'm talking about in his generation, because I've interviewed a lot of brothers and sisters, and he is in my top 8 as one of the top Hebrews on the planet. That's facts. He had taken the time to study Kemet. So I always say to Jabari, Shaka Upmost, I said, bro, when y'all going to study Hebrew? You banging on it, the Israelites, but when you going to study it, you got to study the language. And this brother had taken the time to study it. I see him in New York, where we from, going and taking the kids to the museum. I see him. You see what I'm saying? So give it up for our brother one more time.
Thank you very much, Brother Sarnetta. I met Sarnetta a little younger than I am now. with a little less belly than I got now. I must have been about 35, 34. Both of us, right? Yeah. And one thing I can say is that the thing that probably helped me greatly is that I think I grew exponentially in the last 5 years because it was my first time being exposed to so many different types of knowledge and different types of teachers. In the Hebrew community, sometimes we can be one-dimensional. What I learned from the conscious community is that even though my faith, for me, is stronger than evidence, and I know somebody watching this on the TV gonna be like, they them Hebrews go again talking crazy, faith more than evidence. But the word faith in Hebrew is amana or emuna. It also means a pillar in Hebrew. Don't you dare tell me that my faith is any less than what you call fact. Because here is one thing I know is always true. Your facts change, but the word of God is consistently true. So in more ways than one, my faith is more sure than your facts. Which is probably why the word for faith in Hebrew is also the word for pillar. Because it's immovable, unlike your facts. So with that being said, man, I have a lot of respect for everyone that came out today. I also want to give a shout out to our brother, Andre Berto. Thank you so very much. What he did today is not easy. It's COVID, y'all.
That's right.
One of y'all might got COVID. Y'all might be looking at me like, ain't you coming from New York? You got COVID.
New York today is clean.
We clean.
We don't walk with no mask. All the stores, everything is open.
Nah, you're
except
right.
for the movies. But now California, when I got off the plane, I'm like, everybody got the
You're right about that. But let me tell you about...
when we first got hit, which we know that that's a scam. We know that that's bull crap.
You're right, but I got sickle cell trait, so we might be like, we walking around with corona trait, giving it to everybody.
In New York, for like 2 months straight, at the time of the so-called COVID, there was like damn near 30 protest marches with thousands of people walking together. If COVID was real in New York, all of us, New York would have been shut down. School is starting, kids is going back to school in New York. I don't know about out here. But we going back, our kids going back to school. Did y'all see the last presidential talk with Trump?
Yes.
Last week?
No mask.
Damn near 1,500 people in the building. Not one of them had on masks.
They crazy crackers,
They know it's fake.
They silly
When
crackers.
you have the, now I'm not telling you what to do. I will not tell you what to do. But I know when you wear the mask, you're breathing in your own what? Carbon dioxide. You're breathing in your own carbon dioxide, which weakens your own immune system. Your lungs need oxygen, air. Now, yeah, when you go in the store and you're around a lot of people, go ahead, put your mask on. But if you're in the car by yourself, and I've seen people doing it, they got the mask on their face. Crazy. I'm like, yo, bro, what you doing? You got to clear your lungs, man.
You're absolutely right, man. So, yes. Some sisters went up longer than that. The power of a good name Messiah. But you know what people say about Messianics? That will tell you Yahushua or Yeshua is historical. Master teacher of Torah. And I could prove. I think tonight was a great event. I'd be honored if any one of you call me out. My brother outside got